Mr. President, the message is still the same. We will not bow to a wannabe king, and the congestion pricing is staying on.
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and slave us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule because you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, because I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast, and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts, and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring, and George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil, chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk and doubt it, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati. I'm hardcore, fierce, and sexy. Today we're going to talk about the unprofessional, unkept, uncouth bums that is today's American political left. But before we talk about the American political left, let me talk to you about Wild Bagels. Wild Bagels gives you fine, appetizing food like this. And you could walk in there and walk out with fine, appetizing food like this by going to 1901 Stillwell Avenue in beautiful Brooklyn, New York. Or you can have this fine, appetizing food delivered right to your door by calling 718-333-WILD. That's 718-333-WILD. And remember, Wild Bagels. Those bagels sure are wild. And in addition, I'd like to thank Wild Bagels for wholeheartedly continuing to support and endorse my videos. Thank you very much. Now then, let's talk about the classless, trailer trash, the classless white trash that is today's American political left. They hate animals, by the way. A lot of these liberals were calling for the dismemberment and killing of Renee Macklin's dog. Notice I call her Renee Macklin because I do not acknowledge the taking of a name of a spouse if it is not a female taking that name from a male spouse, a husband. So, yes, she's dead. I'm not speaking ill of the dead, just that this dead person's name is not good. It's Macklin. Her last name was not good, it was Macklin. If she had married a man whose last name was good, then her name would be good. But anyway, speaking of classless trailer trash, the person whose name was good encouraged her same-sex spouse to drive her car into the ICE agent. She pointed right at the ICE agent and instructed Renee to drive, baby, drive. And I will always make fun of and laugh at dysfunctional white trash. And the real Miss Good was the one who instructed the person named Macklin driving the Honda Pilot to drive, baby, drive right into an ICE agent.
So she sacrificed. I guess she loved her spouse so much she sacrificed her. And they say, ever since they opened the doors to same-sex marriage, they started doing surveys. And to the credit of male-to-male marriages, those tend to last the longest. I mean, you could say all you want about it. It goes against God. It's unholy. What have you? But the male-to-male marriages last longer than the male-female marriages, which run a modest second place. And how long those marriages last. But the ones that are the shortest, the most vile, the most violent, are the female-to-female marriages. And so, these characters that want to disrupt God's plan end up stirring the shit out even more and driving themselves into dysfunctional relationships that cause, more often than not, their death. And I'm not saying they're always going to buy a Honda Pilot and drive it into an ICE agent and get themselves shot. Of course not. That's not an everyday occurrence. But they'll hook up with somebody who's violent, who beat them within an inch of their life, or even kill them. That's possible. I had an ex-girlfriend, who wanted to be engaged to some other guy or whatever, and I guess the guy wasn't doing the right thing, so she left him for an angry woman who took her anger out on her and started committing domestic violence on her, and she finally had to call her father, who had some connections, to rescue her from that situation. But the bottom line is this. I know people who've actually gotten into female-to-female relationships, and I have not seen long, love, everlasting situations like that. I just haven't. And I think it's the nature of the beast. When women attempt to show the inner strength in a form that only men can, yes, they do show strength, but it comes ravaged with vindictiveness and viciousness. When they have a man in their life to carry the burden of revenge on their shoulders, they don't have to. And they don't have to get creative or anything like that. They could just put it on the man and then lend support to that man. That's why certain things are not societal or conscious. They're actually primal. And you know what I'm talking about. But you'll have this trailer trash American left of today trying to tell you that they are the way, they are the light, they are the hope. And let me tell you something, buddy boy. I've said it a million times before. Well, maybe not a million, maybe about 1,200 times. Give or take a few. So many levels of hell, where belong the left? And you got Kathy Hochul. Now, I don't just call her a huckster because, haha, Huckster starts with H, Hochul starts with H, ha ha ha, Huckster Hochul. She really is a huckster. She really is like a street hustler. A three-card Monte dealer. The ball under the cup shuffler. She really is very much like one of those cats. She puts $15 congestion pricing on the table. The citizenry of New York are outraged. They're mad. They're screaming, take it off, get rid of it. She takes it off the table. And then puts it back on at $9. When it shouldn't be there at all at any price. So, yeah, we're going to propose this expensive thing. No, we're mad. Okay, we're not going to do it. Okay, we're going to bring it back, but be thankful that it's less than what we were going to charge you. See the psychological war games she's trying to play with her own constituents and her own supporters and her own people that voted her into this godforsaken office? That she herself has made a godforsaken office? We're going to rob you for a lot of money. Oh, no, don't do that. Okay, I changed my mind. We're going to rob you for a little bit less money than we said we were going to rob you for. Okay, I'm grateful. Here, you can have the reduced robbery money. Make it make sense, folks. Make it make sense. Boy, I tell you, sometimes when people are looking for me to kick my ass, and Wild Bagels doesn't want that kind of medical attention or publicity or negative attention, they'll rush me to the back because they don't want to see me kicking their ass, these protesters or whatever, because it gives them bad press. They don't want that, so they'll hustle me to the back and hide me. Because they don't want to take me off the leash to kick their ass when they come to protest me. And so, these people that come to 1901 Stillwell Avenue, they come demanding to see MC Tootle. Or sometimes they'll call me by my government name. Notice I have to say government name with the mouth twisted. Government name. So sometimes they'll call me by my government name, John A. Krantz or John Krantz. We want to see John Krantz. We don't like what he said on YouTube. That son of a bitch. We want to get him. We want to burn him. We got torches. We got pitchforks. We got axes. We got cleavers. We got McDonald's hamburgers because that's poison. And it could probably kill him. Even though I work for McDonald's. Stupid fucks. So... and they'll be like, no, there's no John Krantz here, And once they go away, they'll be like, here, take these. You know, we love you, but try not to come here too often because, it brings us negative press. So, yeah, take this dozen bagels. And, things like that probably happen. Probably. I mean, I'm not going to guarantee it happens. I'm not going to fully deny that things like that happen. It's kind of like uh, ex-mafia figures that say maybe they know where the bodies are and maybe they don't. But I know where I can find a cat. There's a cat right here. Who's that? That's my cat Puff. Look at it. Look at that. You gotta see his green eyes. Very, very handsome, very spiffy looking cat. And he's got the gray nose to match the back of his body with a white chest and white paws. Very spiffy looking cat, I tell you. Puff is a gem. I don't speak of Puff that often. Normally I talk about Blondie or Mittens or Buddy and sometimes Pinocchio. But anyway, that's the life of a cat owner, a person who owns multiple cats. Because if you have cats in your life, you have an outside shot of having some class. As long as you understand there's no such thing as a liberal cat, and being a liberal with cats is bad cat parenting. Understand that. Being a liberal while owning cats or having cats in your house is bad cat parenting. And you don't want that happening in your life. But now that I said that, let's get back to the evil left. And people like Huckster Hochul. And I explained to you why I call her a huckster. Now, let me explain to you that there is a valid alternative to Huckster Hochul. A valid alternative to Huckster Hochul. And you have to understand that. You need to come to a hetero-white messiah realization there is a valid alternative to Huckster Hochul. And it's voting Republican. And the lead Republican candidate against Huckster Hochul is Bruce Blakeman. Bruce Blakeman is the man. He's an outspoken, strong candidate because you need an outspoken candidate to win elections. You can't have soft-spoken, wishy-washy, former gumshoes like that disappointment Mike Sapricone, who is only outspoken when denying being MAGA. There's something wrong with that. That wasn't so much Kirsten Gillibrand winning that senatorial election as it was Mike Sapricone losing that election. If you're a diehard Mike Sapricone supporter, get in his ear and tell him if he ever decides to run for office again, he better campaign better. He better put his boots on the ground and get into New York City and the Brooklyn neighborhoods especially. More so than Queens, Bronx, or even Staten Island. Get into the Brooklyn neighborhoods and, of course, in Manhattan because, let's face it, there is some action that still goes on in Manhattan, even though Brooklyn is better. But anyway, unlike Mr. Sapricone, there is Bruce Blakeman, an outspoken gentleman, and let's face it, you can say what you want, but in today's political climate, you gotta toot your own horn and remind people of what you do, because the left, they're going to ignore what you do paint their own picture of you, get their buddies in the press to bark it out, and before you know it, you got somebody else telling your story for you. And it's nothing like who you really are. And that's why gentlemen like Bruce Blakeman talk about their record. And if you have a good record, why the hell not just say what that record is? And I commend Bruce Blakeman for telling people what his record is. A balanced budget in Nassau County. Crime rate almost in the cellar. Okay? Nassau County used to have more crime in it than five-borough New York City at one time. Of course, we're talking about the first or second term of Mike Bloomberg, which it was a turnkey operation, and he managed to maintain it the way Giuliani had already set it up for him. I mean, to his credit, Giuliani was the better mayor than Bloomberg. It's just that Bloomberg knew how to maintain what Giuliani had already set up for him. Let's be real with that. And so, in those days, believe it or not, Nassau County actually had a higher crime rate than five-borough New York City. But now, there's almost zero crime. There's almost zero violent crime in Nassau County. Okay? And the economy, you would not believe you're within the state of New York the way the economy in Nassau County is booming. You like that word, booming, so I'm going to say booming. And so, why not, if he's offering to run for governor and take that model and apply it to the rest of the state of New York, why the hell not vote for him? And he will, as God is my witness, he will remove that congestion pricing from Manhattan, because that is highway robbery. That is literally highway robbery, that congestion pricing. And this is why we have to defeat the dysfunctional white trash that has become the modern Democrat Party. And on to the I say, respect God, watch out for the Illuminati, like, follow, share, comment, subscribe, stay strong, keep kicking that slang. It's your boy in the building, hip-hop legend, recording engineer, underground rock and roll hero, your hardcore, fierce, and sexy host that is never gross, MC Too Tall. Yaha!